how we get a state of disease and how we get a state of health. So on this side here, we have this area here represents all of the stressors in our lives. The red being anything that creates stress, whether it's environmental toxins, whether it's stress from work, whether it's stress from a difficult diagnosis, whatever that stress might be. And then down here in the green area, we have all of the things that we do to promote our health. So this would be things like exercising, drinking water, things, having a good time with your loved ones, things that create health and wellness. And when somebody's in a state of of health, their health-promoting activities outweigh the stressors that are in their life. Versus being in a state of disease, the opposite is true. So here's a model of wellness. You can see here that we have a table, and this table has 5 legs on it. And each of these legs represent an aspect of health. So mental, emotional health, your heredity and genetics. And by structure here, I mean the way you hold yourself, your posture, how your muscles function, whether your bones are aligned, that sort of thing. By elimination here, I'm talking about your body's ability to get rid of toxins, to get rid of things that aren't useful for the body. And then by nutrition, I mean anything that's nourishing to the body, so things that you're taking in that are helping to nourish the body. In order for this table to really be solid, you need at least 3 of these legs. So, as you can see here by this diagram, these things really are not separate. When they're working together, we have more area here. And this is the area where peace, balance, inspiration, and flow comes into our life. When we are able to create awareness in each of these areas, we can bring these together and make this area bigger, creating more flow in our lives. So these are the major excretory organs. So by excretory, I mean these are the organs that eliminate toxins from your body, that eliminate anything that isn't useful to your body. So we have the skin, lungs, the digestive system, and the kidneys. So in my experience, people who have been diagnosed with scleroderma have a problem with most, if not all, of these organs. And when you can't eliminate things, your cells become overwhelmed. Your body becomes toxic, and your system can't function. Your cells can't function correctly. They get confused. So this is what your cell might look like on stress or toxins. How effective you are at seeing clearly the path out is an indicator of how much stress you might be under and how much toxic load you might be carrying. So toxicity is not just physical substances. Toxicity is any stress that alters the function of your cells. So stress can be emotional, stress can be a lot of different things. Alcohol, we can look at some of these things in here. It can be environmental, it can be lack of exercise. Any of these things can contribute to a toxic accumulation. Okay, so the chronic stress releases cortisol. Cortisol is the hormone that's associated with chronic stress. And what immunologists are finding is that cortisol patterns, when they're not in their optimal patterns, are likely contributing to the autoimmune process. And I guess I'm going off of the assumption that you guys know that scleroderma has an autoimmune component to it. Okay, I'm seeing head shaking. So this right here is what we want cortisol optimally to look like. So we want it to be high in the morning, and then we want it to slowly decrease as we get ready for bed and be at its lowest during sleep.
Excuse me, I don't really know what cortisol is.
Cortisol is the hormone that's released when you're in a stressful state. So it can be from chronic stress or it could be from acute stress. So if something is threatening, you would release it, but you also release it during times of chronic stress, and we'll talk about.
Like adrenaline?
It's like adrenaline, yep.
Okay.
It's released with adrenaline.
Oh.
So anyway, what immunologists are finding is that the immune system actually is correlated. Immune regulation is correlated with cortisol, maladaptive cortisol patterns. So how do we reduce cortisol stress levels? Some of the most important things are eating regularly. So eating 3 meals a day, eating at approximately the same time every day, and not skipping meals, because when we skip meals, our blood sugar goes down, and that's a trigger for cortisol getting released into the system. Likewise, refined carbohydrates, things like pasta and baked goods, sugary snacks, that sort of thing, they give your blood sugar a real peak, and then your blood sugar goes way down after that. And when your blood sugar is down, the cortisol is released again. Stimulants do the same thing. Very similar mechanism there. So some of the things that we can do are to get enough stress reduction techniques in every day. Things like meditation, self-hypnosis, breathing exercises, these kinds of things. There's a lot of things that really fall into that category. And also regular sleep. So getting to bed at the same time, doing it before 11 o'clock at night, and getting at least 8 hours of sleep are all really important to maintaining cortisol levels. So if you get less than 8 hours of sleep a night, you're operating impaired. Your alertness, your productivity, and creativity, and your general health are all affected. It's really between the 7th and 8th hour that you go into a REM state of sleep, and that's when the mind repairs itself. When you don't get enough sleep, cortisol levels, not only are they higher, but they stay higher for a longer period of time. We breathe 12 times a minute. And that makes this a really important excretory organ. It's not only a detox pathway, but it also regulates the nervous system and promotes an euphoric, relaxed state. So eustress. What is eustress? You guys heard of eustress? So eustress is good stress, basically. It's the things that are associated with laughter and having fun, joy, these kinds of things. And this is really what naturopathic medicine focuses on. Naturally, we support your body to produce the endorphins and the hormones that are associated with positive stress levels, chronic positive stress.